We talked today with a continuation of last week. Someone approached me as to something that was said last week that I felt that I must elaborate on. And it's with the subject of rhythm. The rhythm in our lives, especially as black people in America. Not black Americans, not black African Americans, but black people in America who are in a turmoil and who are being systematically singled out. We are not in the mainstream for a lot of different reasons. A lot of them we can look to ourselves for the cause. Some of them we can look to, quote unquote, the man as the cause. But I really think it all boils down to having a closer walk with the Creator. Knowing, having Him to teach us who we really are, as opposed to where we come from and what they're trying to make us believe we are. Being black is more than just our color. It is who we are. It is where we've been. It's what we've been living, fighting, and dying for. The concept of being black. I call this the decade of being black. Only black people are not invited. Everyone else wants to take on our culture. Everyone else wants to take on our music, our clothes, our language, our family structure. And everyone else is doing it to a greater degree than we are. Because right now we live in a time where black children, young black people, are being manipulated. And they're also being influenced by everything other than their own culture. And we as adults, we as parents and grandparents, must begin to take some responsibility for that. In taking a responsibility, we must first look at parenting. In parenting, there's a rhythm. In living as a child, there's a rhythm. In teaching, there's a rhythm. In learning, there's a rhythm. And all these rhythms come from the understanding that our mind is a vessel. And as we fill it up with good things and or bad things, we are responsible for the choices we make. With those choices, we need to learn that when they turn out bad, we stand and take our punishment. When they turn out good, it's not necessarily anything to boast about, but it is something to learn from and pass on that knowledge to the younger generations that has not had the experience. It is so astonishing to me that a child cannot read the Bible or pray in school. But the second that child goes to jail, they give you a free Bible. They allow you to pray 24 hours a day. That's because I think it's a systematic thing that they're setting up our young black men to be incarcerated. Every single weekend in this city, there's gun violence, there's street violence, there's gang violence. And well over 90% of the time of these violent incidents take occur, innocent bystanders are getting killed and getting hurt and changing their lives because, as the news media says, they were in the wrong place at the wrong time. I totally disagree with that. This is a free country. This is not Beirut. You should be able to travel to the store without the fear of being shot, robbed, or killed. I was saying to someone just the other day how the way I was born, I remember my parents leaving me on the front porch and being able to walk to the store, never having to lock their doors. Of course, you say that to a certain age group now, and they find that's phenomenally unbelievable. That's an unbelievable state of mind. People used to live that way. I'm here to tell you absolutely yes. There used to be the type of community where one would take care of one another. One could not fall without all of us falling. The children respected the adults respected one another. And it's important that grandparents did not raise their grandchildren. They were only grandparents. Parents were forced to raise their own children. That's the way it should be. And we need to, I think, get back to that old landmark, because that old landmark makes you have a closer walk with the Creator. Once you're having a closer walk with the Creator, you're open to all the blessings that He has for every one of us, all of us at any given time. But you must submit to Him, not to the streets, not to the music you're listening to, not to the mass music media, not to your friends on the street, not to your husband, not to your wife. God must come first in your life. If He doesn't, then everything that you do after that is destined to be a failure. I talk to an awful lot of young people. A lot of young people that I know watch this program. And every week after we're finished filming and the program goes online, I get calls and emails and text messages asking questions about certain things that are said. And to me, I think that's a good thing, because we need to seek and ask questions. We need to seek certain knowledge, not just any knowledge. It's amazing to me as I talk to young people in my house, outside of my house, in the street, in schools, in my church, I've come to find that their minds are disenchanted from reality. It's important. I said something last week that I also want to reiterate on this again, how you can make yourself a better parent, a better student, a better friend, a better anything in life that you want to be. You can be better at it simply by changing and improving your attitude. Your attitude, not everyone else's. There's an old saying that came from older people that said you cannot change the world. I've grown to understand that yes, you can, but the problem is you cannot start changing the world with the world. You have to start changing the world by first changing yourself. When you change yourself, then you automatically and immediately change how the world responds to you. You can control that. You have the power to direct that any way you want it to go, simply, merely by changing your attitude and putting yourself in someone else's shoes. I am a firm believer that no matter what the situation is, you cannot come to a better conclusion than you can if you're able to see both sides of the fence. Seeing both sides of the fence meaning that you see the entire story and not just the way you view it. And this is one of the problems I find with younger people today. They only see things in their eyes. They only see things through what they understand. They only see things through what they believe. I stand to tell you today, everything that you do can be better. Everything you do, if you learn to put yourself in other people's shoes and change your personality and your attitude, then every place you are, you'll find by using this technique that you can work your way through difficult and conflict-filled encounters to where everyone will come out a winner by you changing your attitude and seeing yourself in the other person's shoes. It is a powerful tool that is now being given to everyone under the sound of my voice. Test it. Test it in every situation you go, everyone you talk to. It is important. And then in that testing, make sure you keep your mind and your eyes on the prize. It is important that when you are trying to help people, which is what we're trying to do on this program, it is empowerment through education. Remember that. We're trying to empower you just through informing you. When you are informed and when you have education and when you have the knowledge of what you're going through, then you can make better decisions on your own life. There is no better decision made than the one that is informed. There is no better person than the one that is informed. How we can connect to one another. It's about communicating. It's about just being able to listen and hear. I said this last week also, and maybe I'll hit on it again on a future program, but ever since I learned to talk, I've been told to shut up and listen. Listening is the key to all knowledge. No one has ever learned anything by running their mouths. Only when we listen, only when we teach ourselves to listen and remember, and then ask the questions, are we bettering our own self? Are we bettering our own position? Are we bettering our view of life and how life throws things at us and how we respond to those things that are thrown at us? We thank you once again for listening to this program. We'll be back next week hitting on these subjects again because I think they're so important to the development of our young minds out there. And some of the old people need it too. Let's be real. We all need to come together as a community once again, knowing that we once was that. We can get back to it. It's about these conversations. Ask questions, listen, and learn. Peace.